Cubes, cylinders, toruses, and spheres are just a few of the geometric shapes that make up any complex object. Learning to break down these physical objects into simple shapes and then combining them or subtracting them one from another is the key to modeling. In this video, we'll leverage tools from the last lesson, like selecting and manipulating the subobjects to create your mountain bike frame. We'll create standard primitives and manipulate the subobjects to sculpt the details. Next, we'll sprint into using modifiers. So many beautiful options. We'll start with one of the most common ones, Edit Poly. You might be thinking, hey, didn't we just use Edit Poly to create the podium? Close. We converted an object to an editable poly by right-clicking on it and using the quad menu. The difference is that if you apply an Edit Poly modifier, the original object still exists in the stack. This allows you to easily revise the dimensions a little bit longer. If you use the conversion option, the base properties, such as radius and height, are no longer available to adjust. Open the third data file in this project. Go ahead and hide the podium for now while we focus on modeling the mountain bike frame. Now it's time to mentally dissect the bike frame into simple shapes. Which standard primitives should you use? You could use tubes for the mountain bike frame, but tubes provide interior polygons that complicate the model. I recommend using cylinders, which are hollow. Then you can manipulate the subobjects to sculpt the details. Let's start in the point of view 3ds Max prefers when creating new geometry, the top view. Create the cylinders for the bike frame using the keyboard entry rollout with the dimensions in this video. Be careful to enter the dimensions in the radius and height boxes. X, Y, and Z boxes are used to offset objects a distance from the origin. Set the height segments to 5 before creating each cylinder. You'll want to move each cylinder off of the grid origin as you create it, and name each as follows. deselect everything and make sure you're in selection mode. Q cycles through different selection shapes, so I try to avoid hitting Q if I'm already in selection mode, since most of the time it's easier to remain in the rectangular selection mode. Switch to front view. You can apply the Edit Poly modifier to each tube all at once by selecting everything, then, on the Command Panel, on the Modify tab, click into the modifier drop-down and type Edit. Select Edit Poly. Now click on the seat tube. You'll notice that the cylinder is pushed down and the Edit Poly modifier is added to the top of the stack. Switch to left view and zoom in on the seat tube. Our goal now is to extrude the seat tube up and narrow it to represent the seat post. First, you'll want to select the top polygon and extrude it up. So in the Command Panel, you'll choose Polygon on the Sub-Objects list. Hit U to switch to Orthographic Point of View, and click on the top polygon. On the Command Panel, scroll down to the Edit Polygon Rollout and hit the Settings button next to Extrude. Go ahead and extrude it up 0.01 meters. Next, we'll scale in the edges around the new cylinder cap. Let's zoom in on that polygon. First, you'll want to isolate Edge Sub-Object Selection and select the edge around the cap of the seat tube. This would be easy if it was a perfect circle, but since the segments produce corners, we need to approach it a different way. Switch to front view and zoom in. You can use wide area selection to select the top edge, and then press and hold Alt to trace another selection rectangle to deselect the vertical edges. Next, press and hold Alt and depress your scroll wheel to cancel your view to see the top loop. The process of selecting the upper edge of the cylinder seemed a bit tedious to me the first few times I used it, but once you've done it 3 or 4 times, it's a snap. Next, you'll scale the selected edges in to produce a chamfer. Press R for scaling. To scale uniformly, take care to choose the correct selection plane in the scaling widget as shown in this video. We'll move this shaded yellow triangle and sort of pull it away from the center. Now, we'll do one more extrude to produce the seat post. Isolate polygon selection. The top poly is already selected, so you can just extrude it up by clicking the Settings button. The seat post is 0.1 meters. In this video, you begin modeling your bike frame by applying modifiers and manipulating sub-objects. In the next video, we'll finish off creating the pipes and position them at the correct angles using a schematic.